Hey friends, this is Nick. I call my channel DZ Performance, and I really appreciate you tuning in. This week's adventure that I'm sharing with you guys is I built a 496 for a friend in the Kansas City area, and I came out to dyno test with Bob at McVeigh's Machine and Dyno Test in Ohio. So let me show you 2 minutes worth of just procedures in the shop, and then we'll go to the drive and dyno testing in Ohio. I'll be right back.
Made 670 horse at 5,800. We only pulled it to 5,800. Just wanted to give us any indication that there was any problems. Well, and we had 662 foot-pounds of torque at 4,800. And when you come over here and look at the RPM or the Oil pressure, it was really good. Fuel pressure was good. EGTs, you know, 1250, 1300. You know, that was good. Now the AFR seemed to work for me, and they're showing 12.6 at 6700. So it's pretty perfect to a degree between the EG temps. Now this is only with, so it's got a stock distributor in it. It's only got 10 degrees, maybe 11 degrees worth of advance in it. So I set it at 18 initial, which made it a total of 30 degrees. So we don't have a lot of timing in it. But being conservative, we're going to keep inching up on it, seeing how it works out. And probably I would like to see a distributor in it personally that would allow us to have a little bit more, so you could still have a low range on initial and then, you know, total. So we're just going to work with what we got and advance it up and make another pull. In there, we're going to start this. I see how it starts. See, just past that, it just started to nose over a little bit. So I would call that like 36 degrees total. Temperature makes a difference.
Yeah, that was our... Okay, I'm back in the shop, and usually I have the motor here with us to review the performance and go over all the details, but I had my friend customer basically meet me at the shop and pick up the motor as soon as I was back from my dyno testing. So I'm here to review every detail that pertinent detail on this engine build, 700 horse, 496, and I got some pictures and I have the dyno results. So a picture's worth 1,000 words, so I usually show you the motor actually sitting here, but this is a picture of Uncle Bob. That's a good picture of him in his Scorpion t-shirt and the 496 that I'm giving you the facts on here. This, starting at the bottom, the oil pan is a Summit Racing kick-out style oil pan, 7-quart pan for a big block Chevy. The windage tray is a Milodon wraparound windage tray. It is a cylinder block, a 289 casting. Somewhere in the early 70s is what year that block was. And the 4-bolt mains, the mains were held in by the factory fasteners, the factory bolts. I bought windage tray bolt studs kit from GM Performance Parts, and that's how the windage tray was attached. It had a high volume milling oil pump. It was a bore of a 60 over bore, so it was a 4.31 bore. The block had been decked to a 0 deck. The crankshaft was an Eagle lightweight forged steel crankshaft. The connecting rods were 6.385 in length by Scat. The pistons were Maul Power Packs. The Maul Power Packs had the 1.5 top 2 rings, millimeter rings that were low tension. You know, an extremely good street strip horsepower building piston. The head gaskets were an MLS by Cometic. The camshaft was a custom grind that I had designed myself, and it was a 243 at 50 thousandths on the intake. Measured at 50 thousandths on the exhaust, it was a 250. The lift was a 635 intake and a 635 on the exhaust. I ran a 1.8 Scorpion rocker, so you can basically tack on an extra degree and a half a duration on each intake and exhaust, and the lift would be approximately 35 thousandths more valve lift than what is advertised. The cylinder heads that were used on this project were Enforcers by Airflow Research. Let me show you some pictures. I ran some clips in the previous video section of this. The customer, what they requested was just a basic bowl blend on the cylinder heads. The cylinder heads had been tested previously on the dyno on different combinations, a different combination, and I just did a aggressive lap in the valves, bowl blended, and left it in a burr finish. So that was the only thing. The cylinder heads were the factory springs that came from Airflow Research, and I shimmed the springs approximately 30 thousandths tighter. I used Lanite solid roller lifters. The cam was designed for a hydraulic roller, so they were a tight lash of about 5 thousandths. The intake was an Edelbrock Victor Jr. The carburetor was a Dominator style carburetor. I ran an adapter plate. The intake was absolutely zero porting. It was bone stock out of the box. So the horsepower that we achieved was 694 horsepower, and the torque was 681. The motor was extremely flat on the horsepower, carried it out very well past the peak. The motor peaked sometimes at 57 and sometimes at 59.50. We backed these runs up numerous times. So that's the combination. I'm just looking around my shop here as I talk to you. That was the combination for the 496. I'm going to show a picture of the car that this package was designed. I'll come right back and tell you why I chose the parts that I did for this project. Okay, I'm going to wrap this video up and give you the conclusions from the front seat of my truck at 5 o'clock in the morning on Sunday. So the reason I use those Enforcer 335cc cylinder heads was because the car was going to be used for 8th mile drag racing. It had a 5/16 gear in it, and they were going to custom stall converter it. It was not going to have basically very little to no use for them below 4,000 RPM. So the single plane intake and the big port cylinder heads, I thought was the best route. The only major request by the customer on this project was that it had to make over 650 horse, and the parts that I had in the short block was definitely going to do that. Whatever cylinder head I've tested on that style of short block has always made, north of 650 horse. Last week's video, we did the peanut ports on the 489, and it was just a completely different application for a big block Chevy, is why it's such a drastic difference in cylinder heads. Like I've said in my previous videos, that I want to thank Rick that bought the motor, the owner of the car. If I don't have good people out there buying motors and you guys watching videos, I can't continue to make them. But Bob out there at McVeigh's, he rolled out the carpet for me, red carpet, and really did a great job. Got that dyno test done for me quickly. I appreciate you watching this video. This is Nick. Thank you.